Check, check, 1, 2. We all find our seats, please. Awesome. Good afternoon. We'll call this meeting of the Housing Committee to order. Do we have any remarks by either my co-chair or my ranking members? Once again, this is a third meeting where we're just raising concepts. We're making sure that these concepts are heard by the public. We also have a list of referrals as well to make sure they get to the proper committees and folks have an opportunity to hear those. So without any further ado, we have bills for referral. I'm going to read out each one individually. Proposed House Bill number 6344, an act concerning certain protections for group and family childcare homes, refer to children. Proposed House Bill 6350, an act requiring accessibility of records to unit owners and common interest community associations, refer to insurance. Proposed House Bill number 6439, an act requiring owners of short-term rentals to register in a statewide registry and pay a tax on units that are not owner-occupied, refer to finance. Proposed House Bill number 6496, an act concerning the conversion of vacant motels to multifamily housing, refer to planning and development. Proposed House Bill 6730, an act requiring notification of flood hazards to potential tenants or purchasers of real property, refer to insurance. Proposed House Bill number 5725, an act concerning rent increases in mobile manufactured home parks, refer to general law. Proposed Senate Bill 991, an act establishing a cap for annual rent increases in mobile manufactured home parks. Proposed Senate Bill 997, an act requiring that certain eviction records be sealed, refer to judiciary. Proposed House Bill 6812, an act redefining inclusionary zoning, refer to planning and development. I will make a motion to refer items A through I. Is there a motion? Sorry.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just a very important question. Are these, when you say referral, are these items being strictly, this is a change of reference, or you're proposing to JF these bills to these other committees?
These are proposed as a change of reference. Yeah. Any other discussion? Is there objection to a voice vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to concepts to be raised. Concept number 1, an act prohibiting a municipality from implementing a multifamily moratorium. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, discussion? Representative Scott.
Yeah, so the concept you just read is different than the concept that's on the agenda. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you clarify the change of what for the people who are those millions of people watching at home right now? Just to clarify, just so we're clear, as I know it's only a concept, right? I get that. I just want to be very clear as this is changing, what the change is in the wording.
The proposed bill that we raised this concept from had made a reference to the 830G statute. That is incorrect. This is actually prohibiting a moratorium on multifamily homes in certain municipalities, which is already illegal by statute. We are just clearly defining that that is illegal to do.
Do we think there's a loophole that is being done, or do you think it's just we need to state this even clearer?
I think we need to clearly state it. It's been done in certain municipalities and no action has been taken. So we need to make sure that those folks know they can't prohibit multifamily homes in a moratorium. Any other questions or discussion? Oh. Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Sorry for the talk behind the scenes. I just wanted to make sure that we get on the record the usual caveat about raising concepts or even subject matter hearings or even vote to draft. What we're doing today is we're casting votes on whether or not these items will come up for a public hearing and ultimately be drafted into language in the future, et cetera. And I just want to indicate that, even items that are voted favorably by any of the members today, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to ultimately support the final language. I just wanted that on the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you from the good senator, and I agree. It's the same on both sides. We might not do the same in our Democratic caucus. Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, we will vote on item number 1 by roll.
This is a roll call vote on agenda item number 1. Representative Felipe,
Yes.
Senator Marks,
Yes.
Representative Scott,
Representative Scott's going to be a no to flag this.
Senator Sampson,
Sampson is yes.
Representative Roberts,
Representative Roberts votes yes.
Senator Gaston, Senator Anwar, Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Butler,
Yes.
Representative Corpus,
Yes has changed.
Representative Gonzalez, Representative Hall, Senator Hockedal, Representative Jensen,
Yes has changed.
Senator McCrory,
Corey's a yes.
Representative Sanchez, Representative Sweet,
Yes.
Representative Turco,
Yes.
Representative Weir,
Yes.
Representative Zulo. Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to item number 2. An act concerning the income threshold for tenants renting a dwelling unit inside a set-aside development. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, discussion? Representative Scott.
No questions. This could be added to a consent calendar if we start building one.
Is there a motion for a consent calendar? Any objection to placing item number 2 on the consent calendar? No objection. Item number 2 is on consent. Item number 3. An act concerning a landlord's ability to enter a dwelling unit for the purposes of showing such unit to potential purchasers or tenants. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved, seconded. Any discussion? Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, no, this is, I think this is Representative Zulo's proposal, which I think is a step in the right direction, although I just would raise one bit of caution, which is that, and I don't know how this will be drafted. My concern is that when it is ultimately drafted, it does not negatively impact a lease agreement that's already been written and signed by both parties and adhered to. Because I think ultimately, at the end of the day, that's the most important document. What the parties agree to should supersede any interference by state government. And as much as I agree with Representative Zulo that this is something that is necessary, and I can understand him trying to create additional protections in our state laws, and I support that effort. I just want to reiterate our firm commitment to defending private contract rights. But I would offer this item up for consent as well.
Are there any objections for adding item number 3 to the consent calendar? Seeing none, item 3 will be added to consent. Item number 4, an act expanding the open choice voucher pilot program. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Representative Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to be very clear. The Open Choice Voucher Program is a program to help students get to a different school district, but that's not specifically what this is, because again, it's concept, right? This is about the actual housing nature of those students who will be placed in whatever municipality they're placed in. It helps them get that housing in that individual municipality. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Guys, I just want to be any confusion with the open choice voucher program. It's a variation of that. It's the housing part of it that we're going to be talking about. Okay, I appreciate that. And this is only, the idea is only is going to be an extension of this pilot program. We're not going to be building the program. It's just to be an extension of the existing pilot program.
That is correct.
Thank you. And then this one could go on consent also.
Any objection for this item to go on consent? Item number 4. Seeing none, we will place item number 4 on consent. Item number 5, an act establishing a housing growth fund. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, any discussion, any questions? Representative Weir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just in looking at items number 4 and 5, the titles are almost identical. Can you explain to me if there's a difference, or are we looking at two things that are, just looks like the language is so similar?
I'm not sure if this is the revised agenda or the agenda we originally had. Item number 5 is an act establishing a housing growth fund. A housing growth fund would be a fund established by the state that would be set to a particular amount. I think in this case, $50 million. You would then get points towards that program based on how much you build in your municipality versus how much you demolish. And whoever gets the most of, or whatever percentage of the accumulated points your municipality has is how much of that fund you would get.
Thank you for that clarification. I was looking at an old agenda.
Understood. Any other questions, comments?
And sorry, you want to? I don't want to speak up unless you call on me.
Representative Scott.
Thank you. We can put this one on consent. Thank you.
Any objections to putting number 5 on consent? Hearing none, we will place item number 5 on the consent calendar. Number 6, an act concerning the annual report of housing authorities. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Representative Scott.
We're just good to put on this one on consent.
Any opposed to putting item number 6 on consent? Hearing none, we will place item number 6 on the consent calendar. Item number 7, an act establishing a working group to develop a uniform statutory definition of affordable housing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Representative Scott.
This is an absolutely amazing bill. I cannot wait to hear more about this one. And I definitely want this one on consent. Thank you.
Is there any opposition to putting item number 7 on consent? Hearing none, we'll place item number 7 on the consent calendar. Item number 8, an act establishing a working group to study and develop best practices to promote housing growth and protect the state's water supply. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Representative Scott.
No additional discussion besides putting this on consent, please.
Any opposition to putting item number 8 on the consent calendar? Seeing none, we'll put item number 8 on consent. Item number 9, an act permitting a tenant to file a complaint with a Fair Rent Commission within 30 days of signing a new lease. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just reading this title, is there anything in current law that would actually restrict a tenant from filing a complaint during that period?
That is unclear to me. Sampson.
Thank you for that, that honesty, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I don't believe there is any restriction. And certainly, I'm not in favor of granting fair rent commissions any additional authority. But I don't see why there'd be any restriction and time frame for a tenant to file a complaint under the current circumstances. So I'm willing to hear this and offer it for consent as well.
Thank you, Senator. Is there any objection to putting item number 9 on the consent calendar? Seeing none, item number 9 will go on consent. Item number 10, an act prohibiting a landlord from retaliating against a tenant who prevails in a Fair Rent Commission proceeding. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Senator Sampson.
Mr. Chairman, once again, this is another situation and another bill concept regarding fair rent commissions. As you mentioned, an act prohibiting a landlord from retaliating against the tenant who prevails in a fair rent commission proceeding. As far as I can tell, this is already existing statute. We had the staff pull it up, CGS section 447A-20, which already speaks to retaliation. Again, wouldn't want to condone retaliation, and so I'm willing to put this on consent for a hearing. But this is another item that I don't think is necessary.
Thank you, Senator. Is there any opposition to putting this item on consent? Seeing none, item number 10 will be added to the consent calendar. Item number 11, an act establishing a construction, employment, and affordable housing pilot program. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Representative Weir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there any more information on this? Just with that language, I'm having a hard time understanding exactly what we're looking to do here.
I'm going to pass this answer along to my co-chair.
Hi, Representative Weir. So the building trades came to us about using part of their pension funds to as equity for developing houses so that their workers will be able to build houses and their workers will be able to have houses, and it will probably spur some development in that the interest rate will be lower. So many states do this, and I think it's something that we'd love to try here in Connecticut.
Thank you for that explanation. I'm looking to hear more.
Thank you, Representative. Any other questions or comments? Representative Scott.
We're good to put this one on consent also.
Is there any opposition to putting item number 11 on consent? Seeing none, we will add item 11 to the consent calendar. Number 12, an act increasing the number of rental assistance program vouchers. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved by Representative Butler, second by Representative Roberts. Representative Sampson for discussion. Sorry, Representative Scott.
Thank you.
You are not a representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have a couple quick questions on this one. The increasing the number of vouchers. So would it be the number of vouchers would go up, but would the value of those vouchers go down? Because obviously this is going to have to be funded in a way, and there's certain dollars already funded for that. If we were to do the same additional vouchers but kept it at the same rate, it would actually be more money, which thus would have to go through appropriations. So I'm just trying to get clarity and understanding on that.
This will be a language change that allows for more vouchers, but it is my understanding that there will be a subsequent change in funding as well to make sure that we don't devalue the vouchers that people already have.
Thank you for that clarity. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Representative.
And we would want to hear more about this and that at a public hearing, so we can put that on consent.
Any opposition to putting item number 12 on consent? Hearing none, we'll put item number 12 on the consent calendar. Item number 13, an act establishing a student and pilot program administered by the Connecticut Housing Finance Authority. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Representative Weir.
Once again, I would like a little bit more information that I'm just a little unclear what this is looking to do.
This is also a priority of Senate leadership, so I will pass it on to my good co-chair.
Thank you, Chair and Representative Weir. It's what the title says, and that's about all I know, just like you. So that's why we'd like to have a public hearing so we can learn more about it and we can decide if we're going to move it forward.
Thank you for that explanation. Since it's a priority for your leadership, I will look forward to hearing more about this down the road.
Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Not to be difficult, but the fact of the matter is that you guys are raising these concepts as the majority, and you're going to instruct the Legislative Commissioner's Office to draft a bill. So I presume you're going to know what it is. Voting on concepts, and I mention this every time we do it. I mean, it's as difficult as it could be anyway, because everything we're voting on is completely nebulous. We're being asked to vote on concepts that have no actual language. I really wish we would just do away with the entire concept of voting on concepts. But it makes it especially difficult if we're just faced with a title and no real indication of what it is. I mean, I can understand that maybe the good senator is suggesting that the leadership will fill in the details later. Is that what you're driving at?
Yeah, it's a concept. We're raising the concept, and we don't want to draft language on every single concept. That would be a lot of work, wouldn't it? If it's a concept that after public hearing, we don't agree on. So we are raising the concept, and then we will have more information after. Senator Sampson.
Representative Scott.
Thank you. I mean, the bill's gonna be written after today, so you're really not saving any time additional. You're gonna still have the bill written before we get to the public hearing. That's what the step we're doing. But that being said, is this something that came from Chaffa, or is that something that came from the Senate, the Senate Democrats in terms of moving forward? Is this something that Chaffa's raising their hand and interested in doing?
It's unclear.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Senate. Yeah, we're gonna need to do a roll call vote for this one.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none. Oh, Representative Brown. Oh, sorry, you moved your microphone. Oh, Senator McCrory.
Yeah, just a quick question. When we said students, what kind of students are we referring to? Are we talking to college students? I'm just for a little clarity. Or if we don't know right now, you can just say we don't know.
I am assuming this is student aid to college students, but I am not completely sure, Senator.
Okay, no problem. I understand it's a concept. We'll get more information as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other discussion, we will vote on this item by roll.
This is a roll call vote on agenda item number 13. Representative Felipe,
Yes.
Senator Marks,
Yes.
Representative Scott, Senator Sampson,
Yes.
Representative Roberts,
Representative Roberts votes yes.
Senator Gaston,
Senator Gaston votes yes.
Senator Anwar,
Senator Anwar votes yes.
Representative Brown,
Brown is yes.
Representative Butler,
Yes.
Representative Corpus,
Yes.
Representative Gonzalez, Representative Hall, Senator Hockedal, Representative Jensen,
Yes.
Senator McCrory,
Yes.
Representative Sanchez, Representative Sweet, Representative Turco,
Yes.
Representative Weir,
Yes.
Representative Zulo. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 14, an act permitting the use of condominium deposits for construction and development. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Much like the previous item, can we have some additional information? The title doesn't say a whole lot.
Absolutely. This is allowing condominium deposits for development costs, referring to a portion of the money that a buyer pays as a deposit when purchasing a pre-construction condo unit, which the developer can then use to partially fund the construction of the building. But it would only apply, in this case, to accredited investors' deposits. Accredited investors are those who have assets in excess of $5 million. Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that information, but that lends me to another question, which is this properly before us? I mean, I don't know that this is something the state government has any say in, period. I mean, you're talking about investors and banking. The lenders can choose the terms of what they're, who they're going to give money to, obviously. Maybe there's some restriction in our Connecticut statutes, but I think that would be more properly taken up by the banking committee. Can you maybe speak to why this is a housing bill?
I think it really depends on the way you look at it. The way I look at it from this perspective is it goes directly towards the building. The dollars go directly towards the building of these projects.
I appreciate that answer. That makes it go to P and D for me. At any rate, it doesn't seem like a very controversial topic, so I'm more than happy to hear it, and we would offer this item for consent.
Thank you, Senator. Any objection to putting item number 14 on consent? Hearing no objection, item 14 will go on the consent calendar. Item number 15, an act concerning the collateral consequences of criminal records on housing opportunities. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Senator Sampson.
Thank you once again, Mr. Chairman. I was wondering if we could go back to voting on concepts that are already bills that have become law. That was better. This obviously is going to be a bone of contention for members of the minority and hopefully some others. Certainly we understand that folks, when they are sentenced for a crime and serve their time, that should count for something, and it should certainly reflect their payment and repayment to society. But the fact of the matter is, if a crime is committed, I don't know that it's appropriate for that to just disappear and vanish from history. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on here. We've had other legislation in the building about erasing criminal records entirely, which I find even more offensive, because to suggest that something should be taken into consideration or not is one thing, but to just actually erase someone's criminal record like it never happened is in my mind far more egregious. This topic is something that I'm open to, from a standpoint of, should we hold someone's criminal past in consideration when they apply to rent a property? And my gut instinct is that's not up to us. My instinct is that should be up to the parties involved. If someone is applying for a rental and they're negotiating with a landlord, I think that they have the ability to negotiate on their own behalf, and they should be responsible enough to make their own case to the landlord, and the landlord, should be willing to listen to that conversation. I guess what's happening here is this legislation is being put forward based on this assumption, which I don't think is actually true or based in fact, which would be that landlords are just simply declining people with criminal records, period, without ever contemplating whether they might make good tenants. And I don't know that that's actually happening. And I look forward to the eventual public hearing, which maybe we'll hear from folks on that subject. So, if we were talking about nonviolent crimes or non-fiduciary related crimes, because both things certainly matter to a landlord. A landlord's got to be concerned about who's renting from him. Maybe there are other tenants in the building. You wouldn't want to put someone who is convicted of some sort of assault or something next to someone who might make an easy target, an elderly, widow or something like that, or a potential victim. That's the danger of this type of policies, that we might be creating very, very negative situations going forward, despite, I understand, the desire to try and get folks back into normal life. And I certainly share that. I want to be open to the conversation. I want to be reasonable as we discuss it. I just think this goes too far out of the gate by suggesting, felony convictions rather than more minor offenses to be considered. I'll leave it right here. I'm sure my colleagues have other comments.
Thank you, Senator. And before I call on anybody else, I just want to call to light a couple of changes that have been made from the bill that we heard last year. Felonies with defined time limits and age restrictions will get certain lookbacks. So we're talking about felonies with a 20-year plus maximum term imprisonment if released within the past 5 years. Being one of the things you look at, you have a 5-year look back period for those. Felonies with a 5 to 20-year maximum term imprisonment have a 3-year look back. Felonies with under 5 years maximum term of imprisonment is if release is in the past year, so they have a 1-year look back. But we did something that I think was important to a lot of people when we heard them in the public hearing last year, which is we excluded certain crimes that will have an unlimited look back period. People will still be able to submit items to say that they have been rehabilitated, but a landlord is not required to take that as a full consideration of rehabilitation. And those crimes are murder, felony murder, trafficking in persons, sexually violent offenses, uh, following violent felony offenses involving a firearm, which is kidnapping in the first degree, manslaughter in the first degree, kidnapping in the second degree, manslaughter in the second degree, assault in the second degree with a firearm, burglary in the second degree with a firearm. And yeah, those are the ones that we have excluded so far. We will have more conversations. We will have these public hearings. But this is a way that we thought we could try to bridge the gap for some people that were very concerned about things such as young children being in buildings with people who are committed to violent sexual offenses. Any other questions or comments? Representative Gonzalez.
This also include senior housing.
Senior housing, subsidized senior housing?
Yes.
They fall under separate rules.
Okay.
But I think you would qualify anyway. That's based on income. That's not based on rental application.
Okay. Thank you.
Representative Weir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I look forward to the further discussion on this topic. One of my recollections from last year was that language talked about, look back periods, but it didn't, and I can't remember if it was this bill or we've seen other pieces of legislation where they talked about a look period that didn't start at the time of release. So we had, it started during the sentence. And so theoretically, by the time the person was released, the look back period, I know that was met with opposition. So I know that we want to, I look forward to seeing how this language is crafted, but want to make sure that it doesn't have that overlap.
These would all be upon release, Representative.
Thank you.
Representative Scott.
And thank you for that clarity. And one other conversation, again, we had these last year, but we will have them again. Just as an issue of mine is, how is this going to be policed? Like, how are we going to know that a landlord looked at 15 applicants? This one had some small level felony that is okay by the statute that you're going to try to get through. How do we not know that they found that information out and end up using that against them? But there's 14 other people, so they have a justification to go with one of the other 14. That's where my thing is. I just don't know what we're trying to accomplish, and I don't think there's any way to police it. So that's a worry of mine. We'll have that conversation. We can see what the wording's in the bill and how we're going to quote unquote police that, and how we're going to stop that from happening instead of putting in a statute without any teeth behind it. Then it's not going to really solve the problem that we're trying to solve. So that's definitely a worry of mine. I just want to put that comment on the record as we move forward.
Understood, and I know it wasn't posed as a question, but complaints will, just so people have clarity, complaints will go through CHRO. Representative Corpus.
Just a point of clarification on the exclusion of certain crimes, the worst, the murder, trafficking, et cetera. Are those entirely cut out from this legislation? Is that what is proposed?
They are
Therefore-
cut out from any look back period. They are not cut out from being able to submit evidence of rehabilitation, but a landlord is not required to adhere to that evidence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Roberts.
Nah, I just want to get this on the record. I love the conversation we're having. I do also want to just make everybody aware that when we go into this and we hear these stories, everybody just have an open mind because it's very serious. Some people have paid their debt to society, which is understandable. But also when we can't get up here and just we got to be honest with one another and just say like, yeah, there are a lot of people that do have backgrounds and people don't rent to them. But those people have been fully rehabilitated. And I do want everybody to be clear because we represent, major cities that do have crime. And we also want to make sure that, we're giving people, housing. Because then if we're not giving these people housing, we're now, turning them back into homelessness and back into a society where they don't want to go back. I've witnessed a lot of situations where the people that do come home and are rehabilitated from certain, aspects of life, they can give you 3 times the amount of rent that you want because they have receive the CDL license and they open their own business, or they produce the right thing. So I do look forward to this conversation, but I do also want everybody to come in with a clear mind.
Thank you, Representative Roberts. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, we will vote on item number 15 by roll.
This is a roll call vote on agenda item number 15. Representative Felipe,
Yes.
Senator Marks,
Yes.
Representative Scott, Senator Sampson,
Sampson is no.
Representative Roberts,
Representative Roberts votes yes.
Senator Gaston,
Senator Gaston votes yes.
Senator Anwar,
Senator Anwar votes yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Butler,
Yes.
Representative Corpus,
No.
Representative Gonzalez, Representative Gonzalez, Representative Hall, Senator Hockadell,
Senator Hockadell votes yes.
Representative Jensen,
No.
Senator McCrory, Senator McCrory, you're on mute.
Senator McCrory is a yes.
Thank you. Representative Sanchez, Representative Sweet,
Yes.
Representative Turco,
Yes.
Representative Weir,
No.
Representative Zulo. Thank you.
Thank you. We will, and just for a point of clarity for those in the audience and those on Zoom, we will be holding votes open until 5 p.m. Item number 16, an act concerning the certification of independent inspection firms to perform state building inspections. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, discussion, any questions? Representative Scott.
No more additional comments, and we can add this to the consent calendar, please.
Thank you, Representative. Any opposition to putting item number 16 on consent? Seeing none, we will add item number 16 to the consent calendar. Item number 17, an act concerning state funding for the Right to Counsel program. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, discussion? Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Can you just elaborate a little bit on what's happening here? I have some notes about establishing permanent funding. What was the funding source for the Right to Counsel program as it is?
The current funding source for the Right to Counsel program is ARPA dollars, American Rescue Plan.
Thank you for that answer, Mr. Chairman. So this would effectively, since the ARPA money is effectively gone, this would essentially begin a new appropriation to create this program as a matter of our state budget going forward. Is that right?
There is no money that will be in this bill. This is not starting a new appropriation. This is just changing the statutory language that stated that this would only be done through federal funding, allowing for state funding to be used if somebody in appropriation decides to do so. Back to you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. All right, I appreciate that answer. So, and the Right to Counsel program applies only to tenants? Does it apply to anyone else in a housing agreement, the landlord or anyone else?
I think at this point it's only been used for tenants.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I mean, as much as I'm happy to hear most concepts when they come before us, I'm really a suspect here because I don't know that the state should be funding legal counsel for one party in a dispute and not the other. And I also just see it as a budgetary matter. I think we're gonna have some budget issues this year, and I don't know that this is the type of thing that would be near my list of priorities. So I'll be a no today. Thank you.
Representative Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just more commentary. One of my biggest frustrations with the ARPA dollars, while they're great and there are some things that helped us keep afloat and dollars towards certain things that were very beneficial to the state. One of my biggest frustrations was some of the programs that were put together in place with those dollars that we knew were going to have a long-lasting impact, and this is an example of one of them. We know that this will ultimately have to be funded or it's going to disappear, and this statute or what we're trying to do here is just allows it to be funded and not necessarily putting dollars against it. That'll be on appropriations to figure out. But we established a program with ARPA dollars that we knew were going to have a long instant impact when we knew those dollars were going to run out. And that's the super frustrating part, that there was a lot of things that could have been done with these dollars that could have been one and done, known that they're only going to be for a couple of years. And now we're keep establishing programs. This is not the only one that we're going to be doing this year. I'm sure last year and into the future in terms of dollars that were originally associated with ARPA that now will become full permanent programs that are going to be funded. And we wonder why our government gets larger and larger and larger and our taxes go up. It's because of programs. Maybe this is a great program, but the idea is that we're adding programs to overall the state of Connecticut. And that's a frustrating part when we knew as a legislature, as a governor, we knew that any of these programs were going to run out of funding, and we knew that we were still establishing. That's a frustration point. So I will be a no today because of that reason, not necessarily because of what the concept is, but I'll definitely look forward to hearing it and understanding more like what could be done with this as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Weir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Over the course of this program to date, do we know how much money was allocated federally for the program? Is there a historical amount on how much?
I'm sure we have that. Give LCO a second to grab that for me.
Thank you.
I think the best answer we can give you right now is that the program launched with $20 million of funding.
And it's our understanding that most of that funding has been expended.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So it launched in what year?
2022, correct?
Correct. The program was launched in 2022.
So that's 3 years.
Yes.
Okay.
3 years.
And $20 million spread over 3 years or $20 million annually?
My understanding is that it was $20 million spread over the entire period.
That's correct.
Okay. So just, quick math is $6.5 million that would, 6 to 7 million that would need to be in order to fund a similar program, assuming all things are equal per year in the current budget situation that we're at. And last question, Mr. Chair, if this may need to go to LCO, do we know how many people were served either annually or aggregate during those 3 years?
Do we have an answer on that? That might be a little bit in the weeds because I know that this is administered through certain legal practices.
Yeah, I think that either my office or the Office of Legislative Research would need to research that question further.
Yeah, we will get that answer and disseminate it to committee members.
Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out here. I'm concerned obviously on the budget side. My colleague also raised that, we're giving services to one side of the equation in a legal matter. But as important as I look.
Excuse me, Representative, just 1 second. Can we keep the chatter down, guys, so we can hear the good representative ask his questions? Thank you.
Yeah, it's more of a statement than a question, but I would say that as we looking forward at this program, we want to make sure that that we're going to be able to, that it's going to be valuable, right? That it's going to provide the services that it was intended to do. Again, if it's serving one side over the other. So I'm going to be a no today. I'll need to see some more information. I appreciate you getting that for me, and we'll discuss this going forward further.
Thank you, Representative. And just to clarify for members, we are not talking about allocating any funds today. Those figures are what could be allocated, but this is a language change to make funding, to make it possible for us to fund it through state dollars. Any other questions? Seeing none, we will take a vote on item number 17 by roll.
This is a roll call vote on agenda item number 17. Representative Felipe,
Yes.
Senator Marks,
Yes.
Representative Scott, Senator Sampson,
Sampson is no.
Representative Roberts,
Representative Roberts votes yes.
Senator Gaston,
Senator Gaston votes yes.
Senator Anwar,
Senator Anwar votes yes.
Representative Brown,
Raz, yes.
Representative Butler,
Butler's yes.
Representative Corpus,
No.
Representative Gonzalez, Representative Hall, Senator Hockedal,
Senator Hockedal votes yes.
Representative Jensen,
No.
Senator McCrory,
Senator McCory is a yes.
Representative Sanchez, Representative Sweet,
Yes.
Representative Turco,
Yes.
Representative Weir,
No.
Representative Zulo. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 18, an act prohibiting the requirement of a donation of land as a condition of subdivision approval. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, discussion? Representative Scott.
Nothing more than we're acceptable to put this on consent.
Thank you, Representative. Any opposition to putting number 18 on consent? Seeing none, we will add item number 18 to the consent calendar. Item number 19, an act prohibiting residential rental property owners from using pricing algorithms and competitors' sensitive data to set rental prices. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments, discussion? Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's quite a mouthful, this title. Is there any other information beyond the title? I understand this is coming from the majority leader, and a reference to the Attorney General's current investigation into a similar activity. I'm just wondering if, I mean, what does this bill intend to do? Does it intend to tell housing providers how they have to determine what they charge for rent?
I don't think it's quite that far. It is a response to what people see as a practice being done in certain places where housing providers will collude together to set rental prices at places that are higher than the market may suggest, but a market that is set by them due to some insider information that they may have amongst each other. That is seemingly unfair to some of our smaller mom and pops as well. Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm no expert, but I mean, I would suspect that, I don't know if the antitrust, legislation enters into the residential real estate marketplace. But it seems to me like those kind of laws would already pre-exist. This looks like it's going even beyond the subject of, antitrust collusion, things like that. This is about disallowing the use of pricing algorithms and competitors' sensitive data. I'm just really, I mean, the title concerns me because I think it's a symbolic of the state government really trying to interfere in a specific industry in a really big way to effectively discriminating against housing providers being able to maximize their ability to profit and make money. Again, people might shake their head, but that's the reason why people go into business, whether you're selling cars or renting homes or manufacturing food or anything else. People do that because they're looking to make a profit. And this is effectively suggesting that they should be discouraged from doing so. And I know that there are folks in this building and without that simply don't believe in capitalism or free markets or the ability for landlords to make a profit on their housing. But in my view, we still live in America. That is still the law of the land, and people should have the right to be able to use their property in their own way. And competition is the device that improves the market and makes things more competitively priced. Not government interference. This is just going to limit the amount of activity that occurs in the housing market, period. I just, we just as a side note, we just got through voting on the Right to Counsel program. $20 million spent over the course of a couple of years to effectively pay attorneys free money to bring even frivolous claims against housing providers, completely one-sided. And yet this committee shakes its head and wonders all the time why there's a housing shortage. I mean, it's simple math. If you keep, putting more impediments on people entering into that industry and wanting to engage in being housing providers, there's going to be less of them. And guess what happens? That drives up the amount of rents. So, coming back and then creating more and more policies to make it even more difficult is not going to have a net positive result. It's going to make the situation even worse. This bill on its face clearly is aimed in a direction that will make the housing situation worse. And that's why I'll be a no today.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Weir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I echo some of the concerns that my colleague brought up. I wanted to point out that there's already, if I understand where I think this is looking to go, there's already federal action. I believe the Federal Trade Commission towards middle to end of last year already took up this topic. And I think that's still under, still in dispute. So I'm concerned that we're going to take action here that may be superseded by federal action. Also like to point out that, many different industries use, they shop their competitors. Many other industries compare pricing to determine where the market is going to go. And so as demand is up, prices generally will go up. Demand's down, prices are generally going to go down. And we see it in the airlines. When you book a ticket, they're watching what the other ones are doing. Buying a car, auto manufacturers are comparing pricing, dealers are comparing pricing, restaurants do it, so, and many other industries. We recently had, our Attorney General was within past few months was making the accusation that grocery stores were price gouging. So I think we got to tread very cautiously here. When we're picking a side and we end up overstepping in this building all the time, we're essentially manipulating the market here by taking action. And I'm very concerned that we do that. And just I'll finish with one statement. Mr. Chair, I believe you talked about the mom and pops and these algorithms. And I would like to point out that this software, there many industries have software that is designed to improve the performance and improve, any number of things within a different industry. You pick an industry, there's a software provider that specializes in that, and that's no different with the housing. And this software, from my understanding, I've have not used it myself, but I'm familiar with. There's a couple of providers out there, national name brands, if you will, and that's available to anybody, whether it's the mom and pops or the larger housing providers. Just about anybody could pick up a subscription, if it made sense for their business model. This is not something that is proprietary to only housing providers above a certain amount. It may not make sense for a 1 or a 2 family to pay a monthly subscription to have access to this data. But I mean, data is just about everything in today's world, and many industries use data, including the housing industry. And I'm concerned that we're being punitive here. Again, I know we're going to have a discussion about this at length. Look forward to that down the line, but I wanted to share my concerns with even the title and the concept. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any other questions? Representative Corpus.
Yes, I just wanted to point out last night, I testified very late in the evening on the Work Live Ride bill, and a provision thereof incentivizes developers and frees them from local zoning restrictions in order to incentivize them through profits to build middle income housing. I know we all want there to be more housing here, but if we are going to do broad-based profit-driven incentives for additional housing to be built in Connecticut, we can't on the one hand be relying on the market for those policies to work. I don't believe they work, but we can't on one hand be relying on the market for those policies to work, and on the other hand, killing the very profits which we're relying on in order to make those policies work. So I just wanted to point out that we have to be very conscious of that, because it feels like we're pulling very hard in 2 different directions. Thank you.
Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'm really interested in this because on face value, just reading this title, it sounds like collusion, pure and simple. And I would hope that there's already laws on the books that would address this. But I really want to hear it in a public hearing because if somebody could come here and testify as to this being practiced here in the state of Connecticut, it would be reason for us to actually find out ways that we could address it. So I'm interested in hearing this and the testimony associated with it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we will vote on item number 19 by roll.
This is a roll call vote on agenda item number 19. Representative Felipe,
Yes.
Senator Marks,
Yes.
Representative Scott, Senator Sampson,
Sampson is no.
Representative Roberts,
Representative Roberts votes yes.
Senator Gaston,
Senator Gaston votes yes.
Senator Anwar,
Senator Anwar votes yes.
Senator Anwar, I could not see your face. Can you please repeat your vote?
Senator Anwar votes yes.
Thank you very much. Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Butler,
Yes.
Representative Corpus,
No.
Representative Gonzalez, Representative Hall, Senator Hockedal,
Senator Hockedal votes yes.
Representative Jensen,
Jensen's no.
Senator McCrory,
McCory is a yes.
Representative Sanchez, Representative Sweet,
Yes.
Representative Turco,
Yes.
Representative Weir,
No.
Representative Zulo. Thank you.
Sorry. We will move on to items reserved for subject matter public hearing. Yeah. Item A, proposed Senate Bill 1159, an act increasing funding for affordable housing development and rental assistance programs and expanding the authority of fair rent commissions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments, questions, discussion? Representative Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The phrase that drew my attention on this one is expanding the authority of fair rent commissions. In what ways are the ideas, the concept of how they would think about, and I know we don't have the language, but in the concept world, what is the concept that would expand the fair rent commissions and their
Well,
authority?
there is language based on the underlying bill, and it is giving fair rent commissions the authority to monitor rent increases, enforce fair housing practices, and including citing landlords for not following lease agreements and fair housing practices.
Is that different than anything that they can do right now?
Yes. Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we already have a housing court in the state. And I'll remind folks that fair rent commissions are made up of a layman, typically, not people that are lawyers or judges. And they're political appointments. Besides, I am hearing horror stories from around the state about what's going on in fair rent commissions where people are not being made aware of their own rights, where attorneys are being told to shut up, where they're not being respected, and due process is not being followed, and people's voices are not being heard in these hearings, which don't resemble a court, except in the loosest possible terms. And I am very, very concerned about this. I introduced a number of proposals this year designed to clear up some of these problems and restore some order in fair rent commissions. I wish they didn't exist at all. I think people are aware of my position on that. But if we're going to have them, they need to be run in a way that is respectful to the rule of law. And this bill scares me because the idea that we would further empower some of these, what I consider to be tyrannical fiefdoms in ways to further damage private rental contracts and the people that are engaged in them is just, it's scary to say the least. We should abolish fair rent commissions altogether and go back to using our existing court system and civil litigation to resolve these matters. And if we're not going to do that, we should at least to have some attention brought towards fixing the fair rent commissions before expanding their authority. And there, as I mentioned, there's a number of bills out there that talk about the problems and some of potential solutions to how to make the Fair Rent Commission process more fair. It is not fair right now, and I don't believe expanding it is a good idea. I'm adamantly a no on this. This is a topic that will engage me in a great deal of debate going forward if we continue on this path. If you're going to start proposing expansions, let's also address some of the problems simultaneously. That is my one plea to the chairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Weir.
Briefly, Mr. Chair, I'm aware of how the intent of the Fair Rent Commissions, what the intent of them is. I'm concerned that we would be giving authority for volunteer citizens to levy fines and penalties on fellow citizens without a clear, I mean, these are, again, my colleague referred to a lot of these people as laymen. That's a layman's term. But these are volunteers not made up of experts who we would theoretically be granting the authority to penalize other citizens. That's boggling. That's really not sitting well with me. So I have a concern on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Senator Gaston online. This actually is a bill that I helped to propose.
Senator, please allow me to call on you before you address the committee. Senator Gaston.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I apologize about that. But I did hear some comments on this, and I wanted to make sure that I responded, especially to my colleague, Senator Sampson. I bring you comfort if that's your issue and disappointment if that's your concern in reference to your concern about expanding fair rent commissions. In fact, it has been very effective in a lot of towns and municipalities across the state, and they have reached out to me directly, and we've had some substantive conversation in reference to it. I certainly do understand your concern about lay people being on the Fair Rents Commission. However, it does not prohibit folks who have subject matter expertise, whether we're talking about an attorney or whether we're talking about landlords and or tenants. I think it's very positive when you have a cadre of people who are professionals, as well as people who are lay people who understand what it means to be subjected to some of the conditions they've been subjected to by significant increase in hikes in rent, as well as having landlords of a balanced mindset that's on these commissions. It has been working in a lot of places. I certainly do understand that there may be places where it's not working as effectively. We can tie up some loose ends there, and that's what I intend to do with this bill. And I look forward to more spirited debate around it. And I also think it's going to help our housing courts because it increased efficiency. Many of the housing courts, based on a lot of the cases they receive, are not able to move with lightning speed to rectify some of these issues and problems. And so I think augmenting that with a fair rents commission actually help with governmental efficiency instead of the argument that you're making in reference to these boards not being as effective. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wholeheartedly agree with the sentiments and concerns that the Senator Gaston brought forward in his description of what's playing out there in our communities. Fair Rent Commission handles issues directly related to rent, and the housing court actually addresses a whole separate cadre of issues related to housing. So I think that the Fair Rent Commission is something that we really need to have in place to address fair rent concerns. I could tell you that in my district, over the last 2 years, the biggest complaints I've gotten about housing is fair rent issues. So there needs to be an entity, and I'm glad that we actually put a fair rent commission in place in Waterbury. I think that it is incumbent upon us to see that we need to put some more, rules in place as to how they operate, because I believe they there's a lot of room for improvement. So we need to actually put our collective minds together and see how we could make them more effective, more efficient, because there's a big need in, I know in my community, as I said, this was the number one housing complaint in my district. So I plan on doing whatever I can to help uh, the people who have these complaints, and I look forward to work with everybody to come up with possible solutions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Butler. Any other comments, questions, or discussion? Seeing none, we will vote on item number A for reserved subject matter public hearing by roll.
This is a roll call vote on agenda item A. Representative Felipe,
Yes.
Senator Marks,
Yes.
Representative Scott. Senator Sampson,
Sampson is no.
Representative Roberts,
Representative Roberts votes yes.
Senator Gaston,
Senator Gaston votes a resounding yes.
Senator Anwar,
Senator Anwar votes an echoing yes.
Representative Brown,
Representative Brown is yes.
Representative Butler,
Representative Butler's yes.
Representative Corpus,
No.
Representative Gonzalez, Representative Hall, Senator Hockedal,
Senator Hockedal votes yes.
Representative Jensen,
Jensen is no.
Senator McCrory.
Yeah, I can vote for this. Corey's a yes.
Wonderful. Representative Sanchez, Representative Sweet,
Rep Sweet votes yes.
Representative Turco,
Yes.
Representative Weir,
No.
Representative Zulo. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item B on subject matter public hearing. Proposed House Bill number 6491, an act prioritizing allocation of rental assistance program vouchers to individuals who intend to use such vouchers in municipalities below the threshold for affordable housing appeals procedure exemption. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, comments, discussion? Representative Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a bill that's actually coming through from the HRO caucus. And I just want to give a quick little explanation and then move on is that, the idea is to try to make sure that we're getting folks into these communities that might not have met these thresholds, right? The 10% threshold that we talk about for 830G. The idea is to get them into those communities and use those vouchers in those communities. It kind of piggybacks a little bit on the one that we had earlier where the schooling get into different schooling areas. It's kind of in a similar vein, except for this housing. It has nothing to do with tied to where your kid's getting to school. But the idea is that trying to get them expanded throughout there and not maybe lump them in the cities only and try to expand it. So this is a little incentive to try to get that through, and hopefully interested to hear what happens in a public hearing for that. And I ask that this be put on consent if it can.
Just for members of the committee, we've had discussions before the meeting began about items B through F. So we're going to go through each item and then hopefully vote by voice on all items together. All items excluding all consecutive items excluding G. Yes. So item number C. Proposed House Bill 6336, an act expanding the time to own program and setting aside funds for teachers in early childhood and child care professionals. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved, seconded. Any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, we'll move on to item number D.
Question. I have a question about,
Oh, Senator McCory.
can you give me a little more insight to this? I know we've done this for the last couple of years, but tell me a little more, give me a little more meat on the bones on it, because I have some concerns, and I'm not gonna bring these concerns up here, but I just want to know exactly what we're doing with this time to earn program, and I want to see the data associated. Can you just be very, very simply just give me a concept of what this program looks like and what it should be doing?
So currently the time to own program has been giving allocations of about $25,000 to applicants in certain areas around the state of Connecticut as a first-time home buyer incentive. This program this public hearing we're looking to have talks about the setting aside of funds for teachers, early childhood, and childcare professionals. I actually don't think that you'd be able to do this in terms of affecting the time to own program, but it's something we want to hear in case we would like to do a similar program for essential workers in the state of Connecticut.
Okay, that makes a little more sense to me now. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any other questions, comments, discussion? We'll move on to item E, letter E. Oh, sorry, D. Proposed House Bill 6338, an act permitting removal of an unauthorized individual from real property. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Move second. Senator Sam. Senator Sampson. Move on to item number E. Proposed Senate Bill 616, an act requiring fair rent commissions to operate under the same procedures as other administrative agencies in the state. Questions, comments, discussion? Perfect. Item F. Proposed House Bill 5365, an act establishing an exemption from the Affordable Housing Appeals Procedure for a municipality that contains an aquifer protection area. Questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, is there a motion for a voice vote on items B through F?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. We will be skipping item G on our items reserved for subject matter public hearing. And I would ask the clerk to call the consent calendar.
The items on today's consent calendar are items number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, and 18. This is a roll call vote on our consent calendar.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Can I get a motion for a voice vote?
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. We will recess the meeting. Our next meeting will be a public hearing held on Thursday, February 13th at 11 a.m. in 2D and on Zoom. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, Senator Hawkindale, sorry. I apologize. So you're voting for number one? Yes. Are you a yes? Yes. Okay. Mhm. Was that the only one? $13.
Could you repeat what that concept was?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm just pulling it up now.
Okay.
An act establishing a student aid pilot program administered by the Connecticut Housing.
Yep.
Finance.
Yes, please. I vote yes.
Looks like that is the only one left. All right, I think you're all set.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Senator Gaston.
Hello, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I think I may have missed a vote in the very beginning, so I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Okay. Yes, number one.
Yes, I want to vote consistent with the chair, so presumably yes.
Okay,
All righty.
that was the only one?
I think that was the only one. I voted on the consent and everything else, I think. Do you see anything else that I made?
Let me see. I'm flipping through the pages. Sorry about that. Yes, looks like you're all set.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, you take care.
Thanks, thank you. Senator Anwar.
Yeah, I'm right here. So I understand, did I miss a vote? And
Yes, the first one, number one.
Senator Anwar votes yes.
Okay,
And I think I made all the other ones, right?
let's.
Correct?
Yes,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Have a good one. Rep Sanchez. Oh, you're muted. Oh, I'm sorry, Rep Sanchez, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I said I
Okay.
missed them all, so I'm just getting on.
Okay, okay, no problem. You want me to read them out loud to you?
I think if it's the same agenda that I'm seeing on the CGA website.
Yes.
Okay, so.
So number one.
Number one, I'm guessing it's A. Oh, bills for referral.
Well, this is for concepts to raise.
So A through I is all concepts? Oh, no, we're just looking at concepts to raise on the bottom.
Yes.
Okay. An act prohibiting implementing multifamily. That's a yes. Number two is a yes.
Well, those were placed on consent.
Oh. Okay.
13.
13, enact establishing a student loan plan, and that's a yes.
Okay. 15.
And considering the collateral consequences of criminal records. That's a yes.
Okay. 17.
And considering state council program. That's a yes.
19.
19,
Yes.
enact revenue residential rental property owners from using 19. Yes.
A. The subject
And
matter.
under matter
Reserved for subject matter public hearing.
reserved for public hearing. Okay, enact increasing funding for affordable housing. That's a yes.
Okay, that's it.
Well, that was it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Same to you. Hello. Oh, hello. Rep Zulo. Hi,
Hello there, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's good. So you're voting on everything.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And do you need me to read them out to you, the titles?
Nope, I've got an agenda here. I had my notes. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so for number one,
Number one, an act prohibiting a moratorium. Rep. Zula votes no.
so the rest of those are all placed on consent. Now we're on 13.
I'm sorry, you said number 13?
Yes, we're on
Yes.
13.
An act establishing a student aid pilot program.
Yes.
Rep. Zula votes yes.
15,
Collateral consequences. Rep. Zula votes no.
17.
The right to counsel program. Rep. Zula votes no.
Okay. 19.
So you said 19?
Yes.
Can you read that one to me? I apologize. I don't have
Yes. An act prohibiting residential rental property owners from using pricing algorithms and competitors' sensitive data to set rental prices.
Rep. Zula votes no.
Okay, now we're on the next section, reserved for subject matter public hearing. So we're on A.
For the Affordable Housing Development or RAP program. Rep. Zula votes no.
Okay, the rest of them were on consent, so you are all set.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy
I
your
appreciate it.
day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Rep Hall. Oh, uh-oh, you're muted.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can, yes. Okay, so you're voting on all of them, it looks like. Do you need me to read the titles?
I don't.
Okay, okay, so number one.
I'm a yes to all.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Easy. Thank you.
No problem. Take care.
You too, thanks.